in an area that's kind of maybe more majority white, maybe I would get upset. But if I live in a city that's like majority black, it ain't too. I haven't walked into a Target unless it's a area that maybe a little bit more mixed. Most Targets I walk in, 90% of the people that work there are black because that's the people who live in the area. So that's why I kind of really didn't understand it. Maybe if they talk about higher up in the corporate space, then okay, cool. But I feel like for most people, if you kind of really banging with Target on a regular, I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I'm gonna play some of these clips. I really don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it.
So Target said they don't need our money, which is great because I needed an excuse to not go back in there ever again anyway. Perfect. It works out. It freaking works out. So Target said they don't.
So I do want to play Tabitha Brown. Tabitha Brown, of course, was the biggest, the biggest talking point. Tabitha Brown kind of caught a little bit of backlash, and she realistically is one of the, when we talk about popular black brands and black ambassadors for Target, Tabitha Brown, a lot of her products run through Target. And then, of course, there's some people who kind of, and I kind of thought of it too, is like, damn, is it almost like, looking at it like with the Tabitha Brown thing, I kind of almost looked at it like if it was a rap label, like it's an artist and you kind of geeking to get signed to a label, because you could just realistically be honest. And I'm gonna play a clip of this other dude where he was kind of basically saying here, I guess he caught some backlash because it seemed like he was hating on her, but he was basically like, no, you could just run all your stuff through your own website. You don't have to be in Target. And I think a lot of times people do get, because it's kind of like, I don't even want to sit here and say it's a black thing, but it just be people be so excited to get picked up by stores, especially if you, because it kind of it almost help you, especially if they give you a front, like they front you some bread to kind of get your products together or whatever the case may be. I get it. I understand, because like I sold clothes before, and I know like when, especially like when you were selling, like let's say when you go to Magic Show and you get big orders from like the Chinese boutique stores, they pay up front. So like in America, they may drag you, they give you the 30-day net, the 45-day net. It just depends on the brand you're dealing with. So I don't necessarily know how Target and Tabitha situation work. I'm sure 9 times out of 10, because she is popular, they probably do give her some money up front. So it'll help flow her, be able to place orders and get the product placement the way she want or whatever the case may be. But I do understand for some people where it's like, you can kind of avoid, and I can tie that into the academics thing in a little bit. It's hard to kind of cancel something or get caught in the middle of this if you just kind of was running things through your own website. So you kind of just relying on Target. It's like, I see both sides of that. So I'm gonna play Tabitha Brown's jump, and yeah, we can get into
it. Hello there. Y'all all right? I know. It has been a tough week, right? And baby, it's been a tough 2025 and we are still in January. But I know many of you are asking and have asked and sent me messages about the recent DEI announcements at Target as well. And as disheartening as it is for me, I'm not the only one affected by this, right? It's for everyone who is a woman-owned business, minority-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses. It's for so many of us who work so very hard to be placed into retail, to finally be seen and approved for retail, because contrary to whatever the world might tell you, it has been very hard for Black-owned businesses to hit shelves, right?
So real quick, the only reason why I want to kind of pause it, two things I do kind of want to see, because I mean, we had this conversation here. I feel like this is probably one of the only podcasts that you can have people have regular basic conversations. We have the conversation on reason why people choose Target over Walmart. It's just because of the cleansiness of a Target store, the lighting in Target compared to Walmart. Like Walmart always seems like everything is super bunched in, and the lighting in the store is extremely dark. So I do feel like and that's why I kind of wonder, would a lot of people, like one thing I do understand about social media is it's cool to be outraged by certain things, but when we talking about how people are willing to kind of throw a monkey wrench in their own regular day-to-day, will you really walk it like you talking? It's easy to get on social media, like, oh yeah, we boycotting Target and this, that, and the third. And to hear Tabitha Brown kind of saying, the reason why I wanted to pause it, because I'm from an area where we really got our stuff off of not geeking about getting our stuff into retail and building our own brick and mortars and our own stores. And that's a DMV thing. Like the bigger clothing brands in the DMV area had their own stores. They wasn't pressed to be like, oh, I got to be up in Neiman's or Bloomingdale's or nothing. And we talking about, for people who may be watching you maybe from somewhere else, you could, like a Sabiato sweatsuit at one point in time could run you like $600. And that was just in a Saab store. That's not in a Neiman's Joint or nothing. You can go get you a hobo outfit for $150, $200, $300. Like these prices wasn't like, you didn't have to go in a big store for this. And most of them never sold to a big store because realistically, and I think that's just the hustler mentality, because I mean, of course, this is not even a stereotype, but this is kind of almost a fact. Most big black clothing lines from the DMV area were funded by big black drug dealers. So it's just like they had the money. So their brain, it's hard to cut off. And I always say that the hardest thing to kind of cut off is to be a hustler from your teenage years to your early 20s, because it's always going to be hard to cut that off. So realistically, it's going to always be hard for a hustler to sit here and say, I can go hand in hand with my own product, or I can put my product, I can wholesale it. And if you were talking about real money, you'd rather go hand in hand. And if you never sold drugs before, perfect example, I always can bring it back to Paid in Full when he took and said, everybody else was upping their prices, and he was like, I'd rather just sell more faster than sit here and try to just get off like for a big stupid price and not sell as much product. So that's just that kind of thinking. Sometimes, like I'm hearing her sit here and say, you want to get into a brick and mortar, or you want to get into retail. Like, bro, you could have started your own junk. Like, maybe will it be as fast? Would you see the upfront money? Because of course, if Target buying it 9 to 10, Target gonna be able to sell it out. So whatever they place their orders for, and it's gonna be a big deal. And if your audience kind of see you, and I can even tie that into a minute later when we get into the conversation about tonight's conversation. It's like sometimes we get so glamored by numbers and things that you see that look bigger than what everything else is. I think even for Tabitha Brown, is, and when I'm listening to her, it's like, you like the aesthetic of being in Target. It's not about being really saying I'm a black-owned independent person, because you could have just literally done it on your own website. Perfect example. Look at the TikTok shop. Like you could tie it. Like look at people. It's like it's 2025, and just hearing her sound, it just sounds so old and outdated almost. Like you could, this whole time, you could have been building up your own website. Like, yeah, you could have still sold some stuff to Target, but again, I'm just saying that could just be from my DMV upbringing. Like, yeah, okay, I may sell some shirts Up Against the Wall, but I'm still gonna have some stuff that's exclusive that people only can get from me. So I can still kind of, and I did this before. I sold in retail stores, but then, okay, at one point in time, like, damn, I can get me some hand-to-hand money. I can sell these t-shirts at the flea market. Okay, I'm going to come up with certain shirts that I'm only going to sell at the flea market. So yeah, you can go to Up Against the Wall because the Up Against the Wall may be closer to you. But if you out here in Baltimore and you in the flea market on the weekend, I'm going to have these t-shirts that you only can get from me here. So listening to her, and it sounds like I get what the aesthetic of being in Target, how that seemed like, oh, I came from the internet and now I got my product in Target. Cool, but then you just basically just gave up on your own stuff. And I think that's a lot of times what happened. Even you can kind of tie that into like with, I mean, of course, Diddy really ain't on the Sean John stuff now, but as soon as he started to get those allegations, that's the first thing you heard is Macy's and stuff. Oh, they dropping Sean John. And we was kind of like, damn, we didn't even know that Macy's still even carries Sean John because people wasn't wearing it. But that still kind of let you know, like, you could have just had your own website this whole time. And I think realistically, even for Diddy and even for Jay-Z, you kind of even learn that when it comes to promoting these liquors. It's like, yeah, you can get some bread up front, but maybe nothing is better than building your own, because nobody else can cancel you. Nobody else can stop your check if it's your own thing. Is the work harder? Of course it's going to be harder. Is it going to be more work? Of course it will. You're going to have to ship your own stuff out. So going to just in Target, it's just, to me, it's the easier way out. And that's the only thing my beef with her would be, would it just sound like it's just like, you kind of upset because people trying to take the easy way from you, because you can still sell your product. You can still have a Tabitha Brown website. And I'm sure realistically, if she want, I don't know what her contract is with Target, but this will be the perfect time to kind of be like, okay, if y'all going to not support Target, then you can go to the Tabitha Brown website. But I'm sure she probably on some type of contract where she couldn't come out and say that, but she probably need to figure that out instead of making it seem like she tone deaf a little bit.
Such a big deal when we do finally land inside of retail. So it is definitely heartbreaking to feel unsupported, right? However, I am in business in multiple ways, with Target, with Walmart, and Amazon, right? I sell Donna's Recipe, my hair care products, right, are on Amazon. They're also in Target. And of course, I have a huge partnership with Target. I sell my seasonings at Walmart. I do business all over, just like many other people. And what I can tell you is, if we all decide to boycott and be like, no, we're not spending no money at these organizations. Listen, I get it. And if that's how you feel, honey, I 1000% get it. But so many of us will be affected, and our sales will drop. Our business will be hurt. And if any of you know business, it doesn't just happen overnight where you can just go take all your stuff and pull it off the shelves. There's a process. And then you got to, like, where you going to put it? You got to have a place to store it. That's money, right? You got to have another place to sell it, which is almost impossible sometimes. And even if you sell online, it's a process when it comes to business. And everyone does not have the funds or the means or the availability, the space to house their own products, right? But the thing that concerns me the most, and I want you to hear me and hear me well, if we all decide to stop supporting said businesses and say, you know, I can't buy nothing from there, even the businesses who were affected by the DEI ban, right? What that does is you take all our sales and they dwindle down. And then those companies get to say, oh, your products are not performing. And they can remove them from the shelves and then put their preferred businesses on the shelves. And then what happens to all the businesses who've worked so hard to get where they are? Then what happens, right?
So again, like I said, just because I mean,
so why are y'all boycotting it?
I guess because they're pulling back on their DEI programs and hiring, and of course, like I said, I think you have to be actually in corporate America to understand what that means. Because I called a homegirl of mine on my way here before we recorded, and I was asking her, like, I'm like, does she work in corporate America? And she works in an HR department. So I'm like, hey, what does this really mean? Is this really a big deal? Why are people upset about it? And she kind of was explaining it to me where it just sounds, even what Tabitha Brown is saying, where it's like they probably sometimes were choosing maybe some of these products because, like, okay, because we almost damn near like the Rooney Rule in football, where it's like, okay, we're going to put these products in the store because we might choose this black brand over some of these white brands, or we may even give some of these black brands more visibility than we normally, and that maybe just not black, but black, brown, or even LGBTQ, whatever, just basically it's a diversity hire. So just with all of that said, and giving them placements in certain stores or giving them certain looks that they may have not got as easy if there weren't for these rules, I think that's basically when they're saying they're going to pull them back now, is kind of just, but still for me, what I'm sitting here saying is, even just for Tabitha, is like, all right, maybe you have to scale your business down a lot and kind of just, all right, if it depends, like if you don't care about it, then don't care about it. Like if you feel like I'm in great business with Target, I like the way Target took care of me, then just stand with them. Like you kind of almost realistically, sometimes you could just keep quiet. She could have just absolutely said nothing. But I do think even if you listen to her, the way she's explaining is basically sitting here saying like, hey, Target makes it way easier for me to be able to sell my product and help me. Again, like when I sit here and say it, when me selling t-shirts to the Chinese companies where they'll sit here and give you the money up front where the American companies won't. So I'm sure Target probably giving her some bread up front to fund printing whatever stuff she got, or helping her, she got seasoned and helping her baby to get to the resources, that some of the resources she probably couldn't have got on her own. So I get it. But there's some people with, like the girl when me and you was arguing about the cooking with Kaya and the J girl. Oh, I'm sure this J girl probably thug it out on her own website. So I think there are a lot of people who don't have the visibility that she got and they never been in Target and they just banging off of their website. So I hear what she complaining about and I understand what she complaining about, but at the same time, I do understand there's a lot of people who still just thugging it off of social media, thugging it off of their website. Like it can be done. It's not like it can't be done. But her complaint is kind of just like, you just don't really want to do the work that the Target is allowing you not to have to do. But there are so many other smaller brands that, guess what? They never got in Target. So guess what they're doing? Thugging it off of the internet. They thugging it off of the TikTok shop. They running Instagram ads. Like she has the luxury because her products are in Target. Guess what? All she got to do is just be Tabitha Brown. All she got to do is market it. All she has to do is be this lovable old school black woman that everybody love her personality via social media. She don't have to do the real business work. And I think that's realistically why she's kind of just like, hey guys, before you boycott Target and Walmart and all these other things because they pulling back their stuff is, I want to just be able to be Tabitha Brown. I don't want to have to put in the real work that most other companies, black, I don't care what race you are. There are a lot of other brands who got to get it out the mud and bang via social media and offer their own website. So, I hear, but it just like, for me, just because somebody who have done both, I know it's harder, but hey, if you really still want to stay in business and you really want to call yourself an entrepreneur and a business owner, then sometimes you got to do the harder work. Everything can't be easy. That's the same way when we talk about the music stuff. Yeah, I can go run and get signed to a label, and then when the label sit here and hit you with the gloss up, like, nah, we don't want you to keep putting out music, or hit you with the Young Miami, your music ain't maturing, we cool, sit you on the shelf, then you at their mercy. But when you're an independent artist, you can drop as much as you want. I could like on the Rush shit, I could drop a new song every Friday. I could drop a project whenever I want to. I don't have no handcuffs on me because I'm my own boss for real. And I think sometimes people want the luxury of saying, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, or I got this brand and this, that, and the third, but you kind of really want to still be signed to a label. And that's just her version of being signed to a label. So like I said, you can do what you want. I do kind of just want to see, I just know personally, as y'all know me, I'd rather go to the dollar store anyway. I can take it to the dollar store. I'm cool. Like certain things the dollar store may not have when it comes to like actual smell good stuff, where Target probably do have, probably realistically got it beat. And I think that sometimes when we talk about pricing, because let's be clear, if we talk about smell goods, Bath and Body Works smell goods is 100 times better than anything you're gonna get out of Target. But we talk about price wise. That's why people go so crazy when Bath and Body Works throw one of them sales in, everybody and their mother run to them, because their price is not as everyday affordable. Like, oh, I can go spend $15 on 3 plugins from Target, where that it may be one joint in Bath and Body Works that cost you $15. It's gonna be way stronger. But just so it's just like, I think it's just price wise. And I feel for her, but it's just like, cool. If you can afford to boycott Target, or if you got the time to boycott Target, knock yourself out. I don't think a lot of y'all got the time, or you're so lazy, because even the way now, most of y'all don't even want to go do your own grocery shopping. You rather go to Instacart. And that's why it's that complaint. Oh, I don't ever want no man to pick up my Instacart stuff and this, that, and the third. Like, guess what? You wouldn't have that complaint about. Take your lazy ass to the grocery store and do it yourself. Like, for that to even be a conversation piece where you see women complain about, I hate men Instacarters, then guess what, bitch? Go to the grocery store yourself. You're lazy, dog. And that's just my whole point of sometimes when you having these conversations and you look at the broad scheme of it, a lot of that shit just got to do with how many people just realistically lazy. And just even if you're listening to Tabitha Brown and listening to actually what the layers of what she's saying, is she don't want to put in some of the work that Target allow her not to have to put in. So, like I said, take it for a grain of salt, but I do want to sit here. I'd rather get into, I'm going to play this clip of this dude real quick, because his rebuttal was kind of almost damn near what mine is. And I'm not going to lie to you. I should have absolutely started this episode off. And y'all know, if you know me personally, and I shout out to all the women who follow me on Instagram, because we was having this back and forths all week about tonight's conversation. This is the home that I told y'all that relationship podcast shit is absolute bullshit. I told y'all, and I can't wait I should have came in with this, but I kind of was just waiting for just to warm it up, but we gonna get into that, because I swear to God, my favorite place to record from you is I Told You So Records, and I told y'all there is not a man on planet Earth who can absolutely wake up every morning and want to talk about relationship shit, and you actually believe this, but we're gonna get into that in a few seconds.
Oh, hi. About 3 months ago, y'all had me on a cross on Calvary in between two thieves ready to crucify me for telling you the truth. All I said was, if a person owned their product line from its inception to its delivery, they would make more money. And you really thought that I had an issue, I was envious, or I was jealous. You really thought that. Now look at what happened. Less than 48 hours after President Trump issued the orders to roll back DEI, one of your favorite shopping establishments, Target, has now dismantled their entire DEI program. I don't know what this means in the long run for anybody, so I can't speak on that. But as for me, and I'm a Target aficionado, They will never see another dime of my money at all. Now, for those of you who think I'm gloating, I'm a Capricorn. Jesus was a Capricorn. Capricorns are rarely wrong. I hold on to this the statement and the testament I gave you months ago. If you own it, it don't matter what they do. They can't take it away from me. I had a whole cauldron of haters trying to take everything I owned. I outsmarted, outwitted all of them. Guess what? I still own it. That's all I came by to say. If you own it, they can't take it from you. Now, you go on and have a good day.
So like I said, I'm here. Let's get it. I want to get into tonight's conversation. Shout outs to Keita Rose.